I saw the wallet on the bench at exactly 6:47 a.m. Brown leather, expensive, the kind of thing I used to own in another life, when people called me doctor instead of looking through me like I was invisible. My stomach was so empty it hurt. My shoes had holes that let in the cold. The morning frost bit through my thin jacket, and I knew that whatever was inside that wallet could change everything. Maybe get me a warm meal, maybe a night somewhere that wasn't a doorway. I looked around. The park was empty. Just me, the pigeons, and that wallet sitting there on the bench like a test from God himself. My hand trembled as I picked it up. It was heavy, real leather. I opened it slowly, and my breath caught in my throat. Cash. Thick stacks of $100 bills bound with a band. A driver's license with a young white man's face, Hector Wayne, and a business card beneath it, CEO, Wayne Technologies. I counted it 3 times because I couldn't believe it. $10,000. I could disappear with this. I could eat real food. I could sleep somewhere warm for the first time in months. My fingers touched the bills, and I felt something I hadn't felt in 15 years. Temptation. Real temptation. The kind that whispers, "Nobody would blame you. Look what they did to you. Take it." But then I saw something else tucked in a corner pocket. A faded photograph of a young man in a graduation gown, smiling with his whole face. Someone's son. Someone's pride and joy. And something inside me, something I thought had died the day they took my tenure, my reputation, my life, whispered back, "This isn't who you are. This was never who you were." So I made a decision that made absolutely no sense for a man in my position. I decided to return it. I had no idea that decision would change everything. I had no idea I was being watched, and I had no idea that the man whose wallet I held had once sat in my classroom 15 years ago, when I still had a name worth remembering.
If you're finding value in this story, here's the thing. You're part of something bigger. Every subscriber to Lax and Relax helps me justify spending hours researching these incredible, overlooked stories instead of chasing trends. You're voting for depth over clickbait. Subscribe, and let's keep building a community that values real storytelling. Now, let's dive back in.
The Wayne Technologies building was 40 stories of glass and steel. I stood across the street in my tattered coat, staring up at it, feeling like I was about to walk into a world that had forgotten men like me existed. But that wallet was still in my pocket, and I had made my choice. The lobby security guard saw me coming, and his whole body tensed. I knew that look. I had been getting it for 15 years. "Sir, I need you to turn around and exit the building." I pulled out the wallet. "This belongs to Hector Wayne. I am returning it to him." The guard stared at the expensive leather in my dirty hands like it did not make sense. "Leave it here. I will get it to him." "No," I said. "I need to return it personally. That is not how we do things. Please." I hated how tired I sounded. "Just call upstairs. Tell him someone found his wallet. Tell him the $10,000 is still inside." The guard looked at me for a long moment. Then he picked up his phone. 15 minutes later, I was riding an elevator to the executive floor. The office was bigger than the last apartment I had rented before I lost everything. Hector Wayne sat behind a massive desk, typing on his laptop, barely looking up when his assistant brought me in. I walked forward and placed the wallet on his desk. He opened it, checked the contents, looked surprised for half a second that everything was still there. Then he pulled out a $100 bill and held it out to me. "Thank you," he said, "for your trouble." I looked at that $100. I thought about hot food, about a motel room with a real bed, about not spending another night under a bridge. "I did not do it for a reward," I said quietly. He looked up then, really looked at me for the first time. Something shifted in his face. Maybe surprise, maybe respect. "Then thank you," he said again, slower this time. I nodded and turned to leave. As I walked back through that expensive lobby and out onto the street where I belonged, I felt something I had not felt in a very long time. Not pride exactly, maybe just the smallest proof that I was still the man I used to be before they took everything from me. I had no idea that upstairs, Hector Wayne's assistant was saying, "Sir, we have the footage from the park bench experiment." I had no idea that in a few hours, Hector Wayne would be watching that footage and would freeze the frame on my face. I had no idea that the life I thought was over 15 years ago was about to come roaring back. All I knew was that I had done the right thing. For once, that was enough. Hector Wayne was alone in his office at midnight when he finally watched the footage. His assistant had sent him the video hours ago, but meetings and calls had filled his day. Now, with the city dark below him and a glass of scotch he had not touched sitting on his desk, he pressed play. The hidden camera showed the park bench. Early morning. A few people walked past the wallet. Most ignored it. One woman looked at it and walked faster, like she was afraid of getting involved. Then, a thin man in a worn coat appeared at the edge of the frame. He moved slowly, sitting down on the bench like his bones hurt. He noticed the wallet, picked it up. The camera caught his face clearly as he opened it and saw the money inside. Hector watched the man's expression, the hunger in his eyes, the temptation. Then something else, something that looked almost like pain. The man closed the wallet, stood up, and walked away with it. Hector already knew how this ended. He had returned it. That was the whole point of the experiment, to see who would be honest even when desperate. But something about the man's face bothered him. He rewound the video, paused it when the man looked directly at the camera. Then his breath stopped. Even with the beard, even with the years of hardship carved into that face, Hector knew those eyes. "No," he whispered. He zoomed in closer. His hands were shaking now. It could not be. It was impossible. But it was. 15 years ago, Hector had been a junior in college, sitting in a packed lecture hall at 10 in the morning. Professor Anthony Halo stood at the front of the room, teaching a class called Technology Ethics. Hector remembered everything about that class. The way Dr. Halo paced when he got excited about an idea. The way he made ethics feel urgent, real, like it actually mattered. Technology without ethics is just power without purpose, Dr. Halo had said, looking right at them. And power without purpose destroys everything it touches. After class one day, Hector had nervously shown him a business plan for a startup idea. Dr. Halo had read it carefully, then smiled. "This is good, really good. Just promise me one thing. Never forget why you are building it. The purpose matters more than the profit. If you chase money first, you will build something hollow." Then he had gripped Hector's shoulder. "You have something special, son. Do not waste it." Those words had stayed with Hector through every decision he made building Wayne Technologies. And now, that professor was homeless, returning a wallet with $10,000 because it was the right thing to do. Hector pulled up his laptop and typed Dr. Anthony Halo into the search bar. The results made him feel sick. Headlines from 15 years ago: academic fraud, plagiarism investigation, tenure revoked, ethics violations. Then, nothing. Dr. Halo had vanished from all records. Until today. Hector grabbed his phone. "I need you to find someone," he told his head of security. "Tonight. His name is Anthony Halo. He is homeless, somewhere downtown. Find him. I don't care what it costs." Hector could not sleep. He sat at his laptop reading every article he could find about what happened to Dr. Anthony Halo. The story was always the same. 15 years ago, Dr. Halo had been accused of plagiarizing a student's research. A university investigation found evidence that he had stolen work and published it under his own name. He was stripped of his tenure and fired. The articles called it a massive ethics scandal. The irony burned. The man who taught ethics accused of academic fraud. But something felt wrong about it. Hector had sat in Dr. Halo's classroom. He had seen the passion, the integrity. This was not a man who would steal. He clicked on another article and found a single quote from Dr. Halo during the investigation. "I did not do this. I cannot prove a negative, but I know the truth. I wrote that research myself." Then, nothing. No follow-up articles, no appeals. Dr. Halo had simply disappeared from public record. Hector leaned back and closed his eyes. And suddenly he was not a billionaire CEO anymore. He was a confused 21-year-old again, reading the news on his phone between classes. 15 years ago, the scandal had broken during Hector's senior year. He remembered walking past Dr. Halo's office and seeing it empty, the nameplate already removed. He remembered other students whispering in the hallways. He remembered wanting to believe it was not true, but not knowing what to think. Within months, he had graduated and moved to Silicon Valley to start his company. Dr. Halo became a memory, then less than that. Now, Hector pulled up the university's old press release about the case. A colleague named Dr. Marcus Kendall had testified during the investigation. Hector read his statement. "I regret having to say this, but I noticed inconsistencies in Dr. Halo's methodology. When I examined the timestamps on the research files, it became clear the work originated elsewhere." The statement was careful, reluctant, damning. Hector wrote down the name, Marcus Kendall. His phone rang, his head of security. "Sir, we found him. He is in a tent city under the 4th Street Bridge, but sir, you should not go there yourself. Let me send a team to bring him to your office." "No," Hector said. "I did not ask if it was safe. I asked where he is." 20 minutes later, Hector was driving through streets he normally never saw. The clean downtown gave way to industrial areas, then to places where the city seems to forget itself. Under the bridge, makeshift kents and tarps formed a small village. Hector parked and walked slowly between them, feeling eyes watch him from the shadows. Then he saw him. Dr. Anthony Halo sat on a piece of cardboard, reading a battered paperback by flashlight. Even here, even now, the man was reading. "Dr. Halo?" Hector's voice cracked. The man looked up, squinted. "Do I know you?" "It's Hector Wayne. I was in your tech ethics class, spring 2009. The flashlight beam wavered. Then Dr. Halo's face changed, and Hector saw recognition, followed immediately by shame. "No," Hector said quietly. "No, you should not be here." "You got your wallet back," Dr. Halo said, not meeting my eyes. "You did not need to come here." I knelt down on the cold concrete, not caring that my expensive suit was getting dirty. "I did not come about the wallet. I came because you are Dr. Anthony Halo, and I need to know what happened." He was quiet for a long time. Around us, the tent city was silent except for distant traffic overhead. Finally, he spoke. "What happened is exactly what the article said. I was accused of plagiarism. They found evidence. I was fired. End of story." "I do not believe that." "Belief does not change facts, Hector." He said my name like it hurt to remember it. "You also taught me that ethics matter, that integrity is not negotiable. The man who taught me those things would not steal research." Dr. Halo laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Maybe you did not know me as well as you thought." "Then why did you return $10,000 this morning when you clearly need it?" The question hung in the air between us. Dr. Halo closed his book slowly. "Because some things you cannot compromise on," he said quietly, "even when you have lost everything else." "Tell me what happened," I said, "please, the real story." He was silent again. Then he started talking, his voice flat, like he was reciting something that happened to someone else. The accusation came from nowhere. A colleague, Dr. Marcus Kendall, had gone to the university board with concerns. There was research Dr. Halo had published, groundbreaking work on artificial intelligence ethics. But the timestamps on the original files suggested he had not written it himself. They suggested he had copied it from a graduate student's work and claimed it as his own. The evidence was sophisticated. Digital forensics, metadata, everything pointed to me stealing the work. My protests sounded like exactly what a guilty man would say. The university moved fast to avoid scandal. Investigation, hearing, decision. 6 weeks from accusation to termination. I lost my tenure first, then my reputation. Then my wife took our daughter and left because she could not afford to be associated with a disgraced academic. No one would hire me after that. Who trusts an ethics professor accused of plagiarism? His voice stayed level, but I could hear the weight of 15 years underneath it. I spent 2 years fighting. Lawyers, appeals, everything I had. But the evidence was too clean. Eventually, I ran out of money and hope. What about Dr. Kendall, the colleague who reported you? Something flickered across Dr. Halo's face. Marcus did what he thought was right. But the way he said it made me wonder. I pulled out my phone. Dr. Halo, what if I told you I could hire investigators, forensic experts who could look at this case with fresh eyes? It has been 15 years. That doesn't matter. Digital evidence does not disappear. If someone framed you, there will be traces. Let me try. He looked at me for a long moment. I saw hope and fear war in his eyes. Why would you do this? He asked. Because you changed my life. Now let me try to help change yours back.
3 days later, I sat in a conference room with 2 digital forensic experts I had hired. Dr. Halo sat beside me, wearing clean clothes I had bought him, looking uncomfortable in a world he had been exiled from. The lead investigator, a woman named Chen, pulled up files on the screen. We accessed the university's archived server data from 15 years ago. What we found is interesting. She showed us the research document at the center of the plagiarism case, the one Dr. Halo allegedly stole. The metadata shows this file was created on March 3, 2009. Dr. Halo published his version on March 15th. That was the smoking gun. It looked like he copied work created 2 weeks earlier. Looked like? I asked. The creation date was changed, Chen said. Someone with administrator access went back and altered the timestamp to make it appear older than it actually was. The real creation date was March 20th, 5 days after Dr. Halo's publication. Dr. Halo leaned forward, his hands trembling. You mean the student's version came after mine? There was no student's version, the other investigator said. That file was created by someone who had access to your research, Dr. Halo. They copied your work, backdated it, and framed you for plagiarism. The room went silent. Who had that kind of access? I asked. Chen pulled up another screen. According to university records, 3 people had administrator access to that research server. Dr. Halo himself, the department head, and 1 research assistant. She highlighted the name, Marcus Kendall. I felt my blood go cold. Pull up everything you have on Marcus Kendall. They did. I watched as the pieces came together. After Dr. Halo was fired, Marcus Kendall had published several papers in the same field. He had used those publications to land a corporate position. From there, his career had skyrocketed. Where does he work now? I asked, though something in my gut already knew the answer. Chen pulled up his current employment record. Marcus Kendall, Senior Vice President of Research, Wayne Technologies. The man who destroyed Dr. Halo's life worked for me. He had worked for me for 5 years. I had paid him millions. I want every communication he ever sent on our company servers, I said quietly. Every file he touched, everything. Dr. Halo was staring at the screen, his face unreadable. He testified against me at the hearing. He said he had noticed inconsistencies in my work. He acted like it hurt him to speak up. He played everyone.
The rage building in my chest felt volcanic. He stole your research, framed you for plagiarism, testified against you, and then built his entire career on your work. We found something else, Chen said carefully. The research Dr. Halo was working on 15 years ago, the AI ethics framework, Marcus Kendall published a version of it 6 months after the scandal, under his own name. It is the foundation of several patents that have earned millions. I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. Get me everything, every piece of evidence, every detail. I wanted airtight. Dr. Halo grabbed my arm. Hector, what are you going to do? I looked at him. What you could not do 15 years ago, I am going to prove the truth. While we were building our case against Marcus, the world found out about Dr. Halo. It started with the hidden camera footage. My marketing team had been planning to release it as part of a campaign about human nature and honesty. They posted the video before I could stop them. Within hours, it was everywhere. The video showed Dr. Halo finding the wallet, the visible struggle on his face, and then his decision to return it. The caption read, "Homeless man finds $10,000 and returns every penny. Faith in humanity restored." By the next morning, it had 20 million views. The comments flooded in, people calling Dr. Halo a hero, people sharing the video with crying emojis and praying hands, people saying this was what integrity looked like. Then a reporter did some digging. The headline hit that afternoon. Viral homeless hero was once a respected professor accused of plagiarism. Suddenly, the story had layers. News outlets picked it up. Local stations ran segments. National morning shows called my office for interviews. The narrative shifted fast. Some people said Dr. Halo's past proved he was genuinely reformed. Others said maybe he had been innocent all along. The university that fired him issued a careful statement. We stand by our investigation from 2009. I sat in my office watching the coverage spiral, and my phone would not stop ringing. My PR team wanted a statement. Reporters wanted interviews. The board wanted to know how this affected the company. And somewhere in all that noise, Dr. Halo was sitting in the hotel room I had gotten for him, watching himself become a spectacle on every screen in America. I called him. "How are you holding up?" His voice sounded tired. "They are making me into a story, Hector. A headline, not a person." "I know. I'm sorry. I never meant for this to become public. It does not matter what you meant. It is out there now, and they are digging into everything. My marriage, my daughter, things I buried 15 years ago." I could hear the pain in his voice. "Dr. Halo, I have the evidence we need, the forensic proof that you were framed. I can release it right now, clear your name publicly." "No." His answer was immediate. "What? Why not?" "Because I need to face him first, Marcus Kendall. Before this becomes a media circus, before lawyers get involved, I need to look him in the eye. I need to hear him admit what he did." "I can arrange that," I said. "I will bring him to my office tomorrow. But Dr. Halo, when you see him, when you hear what he has to say, what will you do?" There was a long silence. I spent 15 years imagining that moment, 15 years thinking about what I would say, what I would do. Now that it's actually happening, I do not know anymore. "You do not have to know yet," I told him. "Just be ready. Tomorrow, everything comes out." I hung up and stared at my computer screen. The video of Dr. Halo returning the wallet was still playing on loop. 40 million views now. The whole city was watching. Tomorrow, they would see the rest of the story. I called Marcus Kendall into my office at 9 a.m. sharp. He walked in smiling, carrying a coffee, completely unaware. "Morning, Hector. Your assistant said it was urgent." "Sit down, Marcus." Something in my voice made his smile falter. He sat. Dr. Halo was already there, standing by the window with his back turned. Marcus did not recognize him yet. "Marcus, do you know who that is?" I asked. He glanced at the figure by the window. "Should I?" "Turn around, Dr. Halo." Dr. Halo turned slowly. I watched Marcus's face. The confusion, then the recognition, then something that looked almost like fear. "Tony?" His voice came out as a whisper. "Hello, Marcus," Dr. Halo said quietly. Marcus stood up fast, his chair scraping. "What is this? What is he doing here?" "Sit down," I said again, harder this time. Marcus sat, but his eyes kept darting between Dr. Halo and me. "Hector, I do not know what he told you, but he did not tell me anything. Digital forensics told me everything. The timestamps you altered, the files you backdated, the research you stole." Marcus's face went pale. "That is ridiculous. I do not know what you think you found." I opened my laptop and turned it toward him. "This is the metadata analysis from the university server. This shows you created the so-called original file 5 days after Dr. Halo published his work. You framed him, Marcus." "That is not... I never... We also have your communications from right after the scandal. Emails to corporate recruiters where you attached Dr. Halo's research as your own work samples. We have the patents you filed using his AI ethics framework. We have everything." The room went silent, except for Marcus's heavy breathing. Dr. Halo spoke, his voice steady. "Why, Marcus? We worked together for 3 years. I put your name on papers. I supported your career. Why did you destroy mine?" Marcus's hands were shaking. For a long moment he said nothing. Then something broke in him. "Because it was never enough," the words exploded out. "You put my name second, always second. You were the brilliant Dr. Halo, the tenured professor everyone loved, and I was just your research assistant. I did the work, Tony, the real work, and you got the credit." "I gave you credit." "Second author is not credit." Marcus stood again, his face red now. "Do you know what it's like, being in your shadow, watching you get grants, recognition, everything, while I had student loans and no future? That research was my ticket out. I needed it more than you did." "So you stole it," Dr. Halo said quietly, "and then you destroyed me to cover it up." "I did what I had to do." Marcus's voice cracked. "And yes, it worked. I built a career. I built a life. Maybe the system is unfair, but I played it smart." I stood up, disgusted. "You are fired, Marcus. Security will escort you out. Our legal team will be in touch about restitution and potential criminal charges." "You cannot." "Watch me." But then I turned to Dr. Halo. "Dr. Halo, I have the power now. Tell me what you want. I will destroy him. I will take everything from him like he took everything from you. Just say the word." Everyone in the room went still. All eyes turned to Dr. Halo. Dr. Halo stood perfectly still, looking at Marcus Kendall. 15 years of pain were in that look. 15 years of sleeping on streets, of losing his family, of being invisible. Marcus could not meet his eyes. The silence stretched so long I thought Dr. Halo might not speak at all. Then he did. "I spent 15 years on the streets, Marcus. 15 years believing that what you did to me proved something about the world, that integrity does not matter, that ethics are just pretty words, that men like you always win." His voice was quiet, but it filled the room. I was wrong. Marcus looked up, confused. Dr. Halo turned to me. "This young man, someone I taught 15 years ago, he did not just remember words from a classroom, he lived them. He found me, he investigated, he cared. Not because he had to, because somewhere inside, what we taught together still mattered." He looked back at Marcus. "I forgive you." The words hung in the air like something physical. Marcus's mouth opened. Nothing came out. I felt my own breath catch. "Dr. Halo, I forgive you, he said again, stronger now. Not because you deserve it, Marcus. Not because what you did was not evil, but because I deserve to be free of you. His voice cracked slightly. You have lived in my head for 15 years, poisoning every thought, every moment I was cold or hungry or alone. You were there. You do not get to do that anymore. Tears were running down Marcus's face now. You took my career, Dr. Halo continued, my family, my home, my reputation, but you could not take who I chose to be. And I choose not to let hatred consume me the way envy consumed you. He turned back to me. However, Hector, forgiveness is not freedom from consequences. Marcus needs to face what he did. The university needs to know the truth, but I will not let revenge poison me. I understood. The evidence goes public, he faces professional consequences, but you want the focus on clearing your name, not destroying his. Exactly. Marcus's voice came out broken. Tony, I am sorry. God, I am so sorry. Dr. Halo looked at him one last time. I know you are. Now you have to live with it, the same way I have had to live with what you did. That is your consequence, Marcus. Not my hatred, your own conscience. I nodded to security. They moved forward. As they led Marcus out, he looked back once. Dr. Halo had already turned away, looking out the window at the city below. When the door closed, I asked quietly, Are you sure about this? No, Dr. Halo said, but choosing grace is never about being sure. It is about being who you want to be, even when revenge would feel better. He smiled, just a little. You know who taught me that. You did, I said. No, my daughter did, when she was 6, right before I lost her. His voice broke. I wonder if she would be proud of me today. She will be, because we are going to find her. The story broke the next morning. Not as a revenge scandal, but as the truth. Digital forensics proved Dr. Anthony Halo had been framed. Marcus Kendall had fabricated evidence and stolen research. The university that fired Dr. Halo issued a formal apology and offered full reinstatement with 15 years of back pay. But that was just the beginning. The video of Dr. Halo returning the wallet now had over 100 million views. Except now, people knew the whole story. The professor who taught ethics, who was destroyed for supposedly violating them, who chose integrity even when he had nothing left. News outlets called it the most powerful redemption story of the decade. I created the Dr. Anthony Halo Chair of Technology Ethics at the university, fully funded. 3 major colleges offered him positions. He chose a community college downtown. These students needed more, he said simply. They are where I was, trying to build something from nothing. I want to teach them. Marcus Kendall faced civil lawsuits and professional ruin, but no criminal charges. Dr. Halo had kept his word about not seeking revenge. 2 weeks after the confrontation, I sat in the back row of Dr. Halo's first class in 15 years. The room was small, nothing like the prestigious lecture halls he used to fill. But when he started speaking, that same fire was there. Technology without ethics is just power without purpose, he said. And I smiled, because some things never changed. After class, I was walking out with him when his phone rang. He looked at the screen and went completely still. It is an Ohio number, he whispered. Answer it, I said. He did, his hand shaking. Hello? I watched his face transform. Sarah? Is that Maya? I stepped away to give him privacy, but I could hear him crying, could hear him saying, I am so sorry, and I never stopped thinking about you, and please, I want to see you. When he hung up, he was shaking. My daughter saw the news, he said. She has been looking for me for years, but I had no address, no phone. She thought I was dead. Tears streamed down his face. She wants to see me. She is driving here tomorrow. The next afternoon, I watched from my office window as a car pulled up outside Wayne Technologies. A woman in her late 20s got out, looking nervous. Dr. Halo was waiting by the entrance. They stood facing each other for a long moment. Then she ran to him and he caught her, and they both collapsed crying in the middle of the sidewalk. I turned away from the window, my own eyes wet. My assistant knocked. Sir, the ethics review you requested for all our company practices, the team is ready to present. Good, I said. It is time we started living what Dr. Halo taught us. Because in the end, that was the real lesson. Not that good things happen to good people, but that choosing integrity even when it costs you everything is how you keep your soul. Dr. Halo had lost 15 years, but he had never lost himself. And now, finally, he had found his way home. And that's the end of this story. Kindly tell me which country you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories travel. Your comments actually shape what stories I cover next, so let me know what hit hardest for you in this story. Every like and subscribe pushes these forgotten stories to people who need to hear them. If that matters to you, you know what to do. More stories coming soon. Stay blessed.